Denny Blanco, good morning, my man. How you doing?
Your dreams have now been fulfilled. You're rocking with the best. It's your boy, Denny Blanco, alongside Randy J. Cruz. It's In The Game podcast. We have a very special guest in the building, Randy.
Like we always do before the NBA season kicks off and training camp, my guy, Mr. Ian Begley from SNY. You can find Ian Begley on Twitter at Ian Begley. And I think now on Instagram, Ian, is that breaking news? We got Instagram in the building.
Randy, you know, I still need to consult with you on that, man. I'm not there yet, but we will be soon. I need your expertise first.
Put that in the budget.
Listen, man, NBA starts in 1 month. We're going to get you right and somewhat situated before everything kicks off. Well, congrats on coming to Instagram. It's going to be fun for you. For those who are watching, follow Ian Begley on Instagram at Ian Begley. Find Denny Blanco with Sir Denny Blanco on both IG and Twitter. Myself, Randy J. Cruz, Randy, letter J, Cruz. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music. Also, youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast and TikTok, It's In The Game Pod. Go ahead, download, rate, comments, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some love and support for your boys on the program. Taping this on Friday, September 29th, 2023. Denny Blanco, NBA, Knicks coming on board, coming up. The Brooklyn Nets. I know you want to get a head start with Ian right now with that, so go ahead.
Yes, super reporter Ian Begley, SNY
right.
TV, SNY.TV. I'm not going to even hold you. The Dame trade, kaboom. Kaboom.
Kaboom.
Were you shocked he went to the Bucks?
Well, just in the sense that we were told it was Miami all along, or he, maybe wasn't going to show up, and that's the only team he wanted to go to, and that's the only team that that Portland could really get a good deal from. That was the reporting the whole time. Now, it's usually the case that if something drags along this far and you get this close to training camp, that other scenarios present themselves, and that's obviously what happened here with Milwaukee and Brooklyn being added to Lillard's list. But yeah, I'm surprised. I think the whole league was surprised that Lillard did not end up in Miami.
Now, one more question before I pass it off to Randy. Now, people are talking about winners and losers. It's a 3-team deal. Got Phoenix, Portland, and then the Bucks. Do you think there are any winners or losers in this particular trade?
I have to think the Bucks are winners because not just acquiring Damian Lillard, but also because of the situation with Giannis where, you heard his recent interviews. He was saying very loudly and plainly that he wanted to make sure the Bucks were committed to winning titles before he recommitted to them long term. He's extension eligible. He could be a free agent next 2 summers from now. So the Bucks were on the clock, right, to make something happen. And I don't think there's a bigger move that they could have made than adding Damian Lillard, a person that Giannis has a ton of respect for. So this was a big move for the Bucks in terms of adding a talent like Lillard and also maybe extending your window with Giannis Antetokounmpo, getting him to recommit. As far as losers, we still don't know the final haul for Portland. I think, we have to wait until the Drew Holiday trade goes through to see what they can get for Drew. The Phoenix, the one thing I would say is it's disappointing what they got back for DeAndre Ayton, number 1 pick in the draft, a player with immense talent, just never really worked out there in Phoenix, especially the last couple of years. So it is surprising that they didn't get more back from this trade. But here we are, and they have plenty of talent to compete for an NBA title, even in the aftermath of the trade. So let's see how things shake out.
Ian, I told Randy, Giannis pulled a Kobe. I said, Randy, Giannis pulled a Kobe. For those that don't know, Kobe literally, at one point was like, trade me, Lakers. You don't make no moves. And then next thing you know, Paul Gasol just floated into the Lakers lineup. Randy, go ahead.
Move.
Big time power move. And when we did the show yesterday about the whole trade scenario, I told Dennis that the Bucks played a big chess move where they took two people off the board that could be potential free agents or potential targets like Dame and Giannis. Because
Yep.
Ian, I'm a Knicks fan, you know that, and I see Twitter the whole summertime. And once Giannis made the comments about maybe futures in the air, and it's like, oh, could it be a Knick in 2 years? Could he be a Laker in 2 years? And it's like, boom, the Bucks in one deal got a top 75 player of all time and a guy who wants to be in a win now situation. But it also tells Giannis that we're serious about keeping you, and we want to provide you and support you with the talent that you need in order to stay here long term. So it's like they pretty much got a 2-for-1. So now I'm assuming if they win a championship in the next 2 years, that could solidify Dame staying there long term and also Giannis being there long term.
I would think so too. I mean, look, it has to work on the court. They have to win. But right now, I don't think there's any way Giannis can say the Bucks are not fully committed to competing for championships. So just based on what he said and where we are today, you would think that he's going to stick around in Milwaukee and see this thing through with Lillard through Lillard's contract. You would assume things can happen, things can change, but that's just, I think, the logical way to read this now with Giannis in Milwaukee.
And I know Denny's very big, very high on Drew Holiday, a guy that can, be an offensive threat and also a defensive threat. And then, you get Dame Lillard. But for Denny, for a little while, he was saying that, the big question is, did Milwaukee get better? Are they the same because they traded offense and defense for more offense, firepower? And I think it's no matter what, you put Dame and Giannis on the same team, keeping Brook Lopez and keeping Middleton, and obviously if everybody's healthy, they could be in the Final Four in the NBA, at least to the NBA Finals. Do you feel like the Bucks got tremendously better? Do you think they stayed afloat, or do you think the impact of Drew Holiday will show with him not being there no more?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think there's an obvious answer. My feel, though, is that just the way Lillard opens things up on offense and he can force defenses, to extend the floor and spread out. And that just changes so much for the Bucks offensively. I think that their shooters will get so many more open looks. Court opens up for Giannis. And I think they're just going to be really, really, really tough to slow down on offense. And I would think the offensive improvement outweighs the defensive slide slightly. Defense wins championships, so there's always a concern on that end when you slip or when you lose a player of Holiday's caliber. But I just think that offense, it's going to be such a juggernaut, so difficult for teams to scheme against and try to slow down, because you're adding Lillard and the way that he can stretch the floor, force defenses to come out to him and open up opportunities for his teammates.
So before Denny goes, as of right now, Drew Holiday is still a member of Portland. I know people are trying to get his services, especially contenders. We're hearing Boston, Philly, Clippers. Even heard the Knicks might knock on the door and see what's going on. Is there, in your mind, what could be a best fit for Drew Holiday on a contending team right now?
And you look at Philly, right? They need to make a move to figure this thing out with James Harden and to make Joel Embiid confident that they're putting their best foot forward after the James Harden mess. So I think that, to me, it should be the team that's most aggressive on him. Obviously, any contender would be very, very interested in Drew Holiday. Boston is right there too. Talent-wise, they have the talent to get to the NBA Finals again. So why not go hard after Drew Holiday? A team like the Knicks, they're not there where you say you're going to make the finals this year without a Drew Holiday. They're not there. But they have a ton of draft picks to trade, and I think Portland would prioritize getting draft picks over players because of where they are. They're start of a rebuild here, franchise player heading out. So that's where the Knicks could have an advantage in talks if they want to make an aggressive play for Drew Holiday. I don't know if they do or they don't, but they do have the draft picks to entice Portland, because I think that's what the Blazers are looking for.
Denny Blanco.
Ian, the NBA is a soap opera for me. I like it exciting. I like people moving around. Just I like us tuning in every week to see who did what and why.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the soap opera, Ian, for me, I want Holiday to go to Miami. Why do I want that? I want, and let me tell you why. I want Holiday to go to Miami to team up with Bam and Jimmy, and I want to see them go against Milwaukee.
Oh man,
That's
that'd
my,
be fun.
that's my Denny Blanco, the NBA whisperer. I
Then
just
he
want
wants
to create
chaos. He wants
I,
chaos.
I need it, Ian. I
tell you
need it
what.
for the energy. Talk to me.
NBA wouldn't mind that matchup either because that's probably a TV ratings juggernaut. So that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Go ahead.
Yeah, Pat Riley.
I just
Riley.
can't see Miami and Portland getting a deal done after everything that happened with Lillard. Maybe there's no emotions involved. Maybe they say business is business and we're going to talk. But just the way things played out, bad blood, I think, particularly from Miami's end. And I can't see them reigniting and getting a deal done. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I would love it from a storyline perspective, Denny, as you're saying. It would just be so much fun to see those two teams go at it with Holiday as a member of the Miami Heat.
You mentioned Holiday, you mentioned James Harden. I think wherever those two land in the East or West, wherever those two land is going to change things up a little bit. In terms of them being a star, in terms of what they add to their particular teams. And then, like I said before, Randy, I'm going back and forth with Randy saying, listen, Holiday's guarding the best guard on the Bucks. So you remove him, who's your defender on the wing? Because Giannis is going to probably defend a big. So who's your wing defender on the Bucks? Yeah, you can try and outscore. So I said Holiday's going to be a subtraction by addition when you add Dame, but that's neither here nor there. So James is still sitting. Do you even see James going anywhere this year?
With the way things have gone to this point, I mean, he knows how to make it ugly, and he knows how to force his way out of situations. We've seen that before. But it seems like Daryl Morey is not in a hurry to do any deals. He's not worried about Harden coming to camp and something happening. So I see this thing at least getting into the, first 6 weeks of the season, because maybe at that point some team that had high expectations is not playing well, and they say, listen, we need to kind of right the ship. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on Harden. So I think that's where we're at now. I don't think anything is going to happen right before training camp starts next week.
And listen, Ian, I saw the schedule. I saw Christmas Day, Milwaukee at New York. It was going to be a good game in general. Now you add Dame Lillard to that, it's going to be even more of a spectacle, don't you think?
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, man. It's always fun, that Christmas Day game at the Garden. It's better, more entertaining, more juice when the Knicks are competitive. They should be competitive, but that defense is going to be tested. That Tom Thibodeau defense is going to be tested on Christmas Day, unless, Denny, they go out and get your friend Drew Holiday, and then they should be a pretty good defensive team, and that matchup would have a little extra storyline to it there.
Got it. Now, I know we mentioned the Knicks a few times. You covered him. You've been covering him for so long. But I think in due time, as the years go by, we're seeing this team getting better and better and better. They made the conference semis last year, lost in Game 6 to Miami. Many Knicks fans feel like Knicks should have made the conference finals. If you ask me today, I think they have a high chance of getting to that point. I obviously, I know what Boston has done. We just seen what the Bucks have done. Philly is still teetering. I think Miami takes a step back. Cleveland could still be in the mix, but the Knicks beat Cleveland. And just the bottom line, Ian, the Knicks have a team of depth. The athletic wing shooters, defensive bigs. And I think they're getting that playoff experience. Now you go into training camp. What should be the realistic expectations for this team? Is it conference semis? Is it now the conference finals? What are the realistic expectations as we speak on September 29th?
Yeah, so now if you're talking about conference final, right? You're talking theoretically about beating either a Boston or a Milwaukee to get there. That's a tall order. Just as everything sits today on paper, you're going to have so many things change over the course of the season, injuries, trades, what have you. But, as we sit here today, a couple of days ahead of training camp, on paper, I don't see the Knicks getting to the conference final. So I see them, getting back to the second round, but then running into a Boston or a Milwaukee, and I don't think they could get through either of those teams' 7-game series as we sit here today. So I think that's kind of their ceiling for them. I think they'll win around the same amount of games. They won 47 last year. They should be around that this year. And but I think that the test will come in the playoffs when you run into one of those two teams that we're talking about with the depth and the talent and the pedigree. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Knicks take a bigger step than I can see them taking, and they could leapfrog a Boston or Milwaukee. It doesn't seem like that way right now.
And I think the best chance that they can maybe avoid them or get to a conference finals, the Knicks were 5th last year. And so you're trying to tell me they got to be at least a top 3 team this year, record-wise.
Yeah, look, I think it just depends on where the bracket is, where Boston and Milwaukee is in the bracket. I don't think if there's some scenario where you can avoid facing them until the conference final, that would be another team upset, either Boston or Milwaukee. It's just, to me, it's that simple. Regardless of where they finish, you want to finish top 3 so you can avoid those two teams. But I think, tall test for every team in the East in the wake of the Damian Lillard trade, and they got better. Maybe they got worse defensively, as Denny points out. But I think overall they got better, and it makes it more difficult for each team in the East outside of Milwaukee to get something done.
So how you been, man? Been good?
Been good. I'm still a little upset about what took place at Rucker Park on Wednesday.
Talk about that. Yeah.
I feel I deserved a little bit better. But obviously, if Josh Hart and I play horse 20 times, he's going to win every time. But it just kind of broke where I had him on the ropes. And I don't think he expected that. And then, listen, we were going shot for shot. But my thing was he's a really good NBA player. He makes NBA threes with his eyes shut. So my thing was just do what I do, and I'm making mid-range after mid-range after mid-range after mid-range. And finally he missed one, which tied the score. So it was 1 letter to go. And then we went shot for 5 shots, and then I finally missed. So I'm all right, he's probably going to take an NBA 3, which I can hit, but not at the clip that he can hit. I'm all right, he's probably going to take an NBA 3. And then he does a reverse dunk.
Come on, man. Come on, Josh.
First of all,
can't do that.
I'm just disappointed that you didn't dunk as well. I totally believed Ant-Man had hops. I believed it.
I think, Josh, when you're an athlete in a situation like that, you're almost in a lose-lose situation, especially with the internet culture. So if in the hearts of everybody there, I won. But if I actually win, that becomes a national story for 24 hours.
Exactly. We're chatting with Super Knick fan, my guy Anthony Donahue. He's on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff at Anthony MSG. Go ahead, find him, give him a follow. Denny Blanco, Sir Denny Blanco on all social media platforms. Randy J. Cruz, myself. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music, youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast, also on TikTok at It's in the Game Pod. Listen, you brought it up. I saw the social media clips and the Twitters and the photos. You did a very good job in that horse game against Josh Hart. So how many participants were there in general?
So in the whole event, there was about 8 people, right? And there was 3 rounds. And then 8 of us went against each other in a tournament, and me and Bone Collector came out of it to face Josh Hart in the finals. And then it was me, Bone Collector, and Josh Hart, and then Bone Collector got knocked out, and it was me and Josh Hart left. So we were playing horse, but it was with 4 letters, OWYN, the name of the sponsor. So I had 3 letters. Josh had 2. That's when the crazy shootout started with us going shot for shot for shot for shot. And then he misses one, which tied it. And that's when I think he was like, oh, no, he could lose. And then we kept going shot for shot for shot for shot. Because my thing was like, obviously I can make a 3, but I'm like, let me just keep shooting where I don't miss. And then hopefully he misses like he did once. And then I finally missed I shot a free throw off 1 foot, off my right foot. And I missed it. And again, that's when I was like, all right, he's probably going to shoot a 3 now or, you know, and he does the reverse dunk.
A reverse dunk.
A reverse dunk, not even like a reverse dunk.
I'm disappointed. I would have thought.
And let me tell you something. You guys have been to different tournaments when like the whole crowd is rooting for like a certain team. I'll tell you what, Rucker was pretty packed for this event on Wednesday. Let me tell you something. The whole park was rooting.
Oh, no. They definitely wanted to see you beat an NBA player for 100%. You walking, I'm seeing the video. I'm just like, wait, hold on. Is that Ant?
Mm.
That's like, wait, hold on. I didn't know Ant had it. I didn't know Ant had the burner like that. Hold on. And I'm looking at the
Josh found out.
Yeah.
Was Josh annoyed that you like, come on, man, this guy like
I think okay, so I spoke to a little inside information. I spoke to some folks that ran the event, and they not that it was planned, nothing about it was set up, but I think they thought whoever Josh played, he was going to steamroll. And Horst, you know, there's a lot of luck to it too. Again, I'm not saying I can beat Josh. Like if Josh and I played 20 times, he's winning. As long as there's no dunking, he's probably still winning 20 times. But just the way it broke and some lucky bounces and, you know, him missing a couple mid-range, it broke where it was like we were down to the final letter. It was just like some luck. And so I think from what the people tell me is that whoever he played, he thought they all thought he was going to win like 4 letters to 0 or 4 letters to 1. So I think it was a lose-lose situation for Josh being not even a former player, a current Knicks player who just played on Team USA. Like I really had him on the ropes. And it wasn't staged. Like if he would have missed one of those middies, I'd win. And like, it was not staged. Like I would have won. And there's a chance let's say Josh shoots a 3 after I miss the free throw and he misses and I get hot again and he just misses 1, I win. Like I know, like I don't like to do the moral victories, but like, bro, like it wasn't okay. In my opinion, I've been playing horse my whole life. There's no rules other than if one participant can't dunk, you can't dunk. That's just not fair. Like if I do a shot, you know, backwards from half court and you can't do that, well, you're shit out of luck. But a dunk is not. I think a dunk should be off limits if the other person.
So for the record, Josh Hart cheated. I'm gonna write it down. Josh Hart cheated.
I would say like, what do you think? Do you think cheated or just Bush League how it ended? Like
I think he used his strengths to his advantage.
No, you should. No, Randy, you should use your strengths, but you also shouldn't do that.
Exactly. So,
like Josh shot a few left-handed threes. I wouldn't have been mad if I lost on that. I would have been like,
you know what, and I think regardless, all of this calls for a rematch. No dunking.
I agree.
Do it.
He's not.
Do it at the
He's not going
Garden.
to do a rematch. No.
Place. Do it at the Garden rematch.
But the thing is, here's the thing, though, Randy. He's probably going to smoke me then. This is the thing, and I'll admit that. I'm humble enough to admit that. This was my chance. That's why I'm so upset. If Josh and I do a rematch, he's going to shoot. Like, think about how good NBA players are, right? He's a 7th man, and he hits threes by himself like Steph Curry. That's how good NBA guys are. So if we play 50 more times, I don't have a chance. And I'm admitting this at any of them. But the way it broke, I had a chance in this game.
Let it be known. You had a chance, man. You almost had it.
At the Rucker, though, the wind was a little chilly. It was New York shit. I had the crowd behind me.
And then Josh messed everything up. Yeah.
He did. And he probably still would have won. Like, he could have drained a fucking 35-foot 3 and I've been fun. And then from a story standpoint, it is funny how it ended. And it gave people something to talk about. But could you imagine with the way social media culture is, if I would have won?
It would have been big.
Like, it would have been talked
about. Super Knicks fans beat Josh Hart in horse game.
Yeah. And especially like, even though the Knicks are better now, the Knicks people still love to make fun of the Knicks.
Of course.
So that would have been funny. But it's not what happened. I did not win, but boy, I'll never forget that. Like, because we went shot for about 8-9 shots. That's a lot. Even though they were middies, like went shot for shot. I'm a 39-year-old washed white guy.
No, you're right.
We went shot for shot. I was shooting them off 1 foot. All this, like you see the videos, bro.
Yeah,
we went shot for shot.
So I'm advocating for a rematch. Time and place, probably outdoors, maybe summertime.
Yeah, it's got to be in a park. No, I want it on a double rim. Yeah, it's got to be in a park. Maybe we could get them at Orchard Beach next summer.
And Donahue against Josh Hart, Orchard Beach, springtime.
Orchard Beach. I deserve that. I deserve that.
On a serious note, Josh, a big integral part in last year's season and playoff run.
Yeah, absolutely. We still love Josh.
Signed him. They got a couple other pieces, and we're looking pretty good out there. I know what Boston did and Milwaukee's been doing, so they're ramping up. But we just had Ian Begley early on today about expectations and where this team can go. Me and Denny said at least the conference finals. I think our mindset.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we can definitely get to the conference finals. If you look at the Knicks were playing pretty good before the Josh Hart trade. They were around that 6-7 seed. When the Josh Hart trade happened, it's like everything just came together. So I'm really interested. And I really think, at the end of the day, like Julius Randle did get hurt in that Game 5 versus the Cavs. I think if Julius doesn't get hurt and was himself, I do think we beat Miami. I think with a full team of this team together, adding Dante DiVincenzo, chemistry matters. So many fans want the Knicks to make the sexy move.
Yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's all about chemistry. So I'm really looking forward to a full season with this team.
Now, does the Dame move to Milwaukee worry you a bit?
Nah, I mean, I'm not saying no, because the Bucks are going to be a powerhouse anyway. So maybe they're a little bit better now, but the Bucks are going to be a powerhouse. So they're going to be a tough out regardless. And listen, Dame Lillard is a great player, but the Bucks are going to lose a lot defensively, losing Drew.
I know Danny's been preaching that the last 24 hours about you get Dame, who's top 75, prolific scorer. He just had 32 points a game last year. The Bucks were the 1 seed, so you're adding. I told him you're adding firepower offensively, but you're also letting Giannis know that we want to support you with the talent that you need to stay here, because we heard Giannis could be a Laker, it could be a Knick, now all that is done because Dame is there now.
Yep.
So now there's no Giannis to New York anymore.
But also Dame is a bucket getter in ways Drew has never been. So it's definitely going to be very, very interesting. That's for sure.
Then again, Miami does not get Dame. They lose out. Strus and Gabe, they're being depleted. So even them, like, I know they were the 8th seed, but
Miami. Here's the thing, though. Miami will plug guys in, and they'll be fine.
Pat and Spo always find a fucking way to do.
Exactly.
But I mean, in the pecking order for the Eastern Conference, you're looking at obviously Milwaukee, Boston, Philly is the same. I think Miami dips down. The Cavaliers are in the mix. The Knicks, obviously. So it's like, I think the Knicks can be a top 3 team.
What about the Hawks? I feel the Hawks could be.
Atlanta Hawks.
Maybe I don't know. It's funny. They were on the rise 2.5 years ago, and they've kind of gone downhill since. They got to the conference finals,
I mean, I know there's a lot of Trae Young murmurs about him traded, but I don't. I think they got to give him and Trae and DeJounte 1 more year to see how it can work. Last year just wasn't it.
Yeah,
but I think
it wasn't at all. Nathan Gill getting fired.
Seen earlier about Jalen Brunson was just fucking phenomenal last year. I think proved a lot of people wrong in the league, media, fans, that they questioned the signing last year. He got 22, 23, whatever it was, points per game. Should have been an all-star, and now you're bringing him again for the year 2. What's your expectations for Jalen Brunson in year 2?
I think he's going to be maybe a little bit better, but I think teams are also going to play different defenses on him. I would say that. I'm not an X's and O's expert, but I think they're going to guard him differently, probably try to take away some of his strengths. But I expect Jalen's a winner. So I expect a very good season from Jalen Brunson, no doubt about that.
You think he'll be an All-Star this year? I know Dame is there now in the Eastern Conference, so that might change some shit.
Oh yeah, he might not make the All-Star team, but if he plays this year how he did last year, I feel they'll find a spot.
It could be him. Dame gonna be a starter. And then you talk about maybe a Trae Young, maybe a Halliburton who made it last year. So it's a lot of guards coming in the Eastern Conference right now.
So someone's gonna not make it that should.
Which happens every year. Eastern Conference, Western Conference.
Every year.
Before I get Denny involved, many people are putting Milwaukee as the favorites, but kind of like forgetting Denver won the championship back in June.
The favorites. I would still say Denver's the favorites to win the championship.
I would say so too. But Denver, Phoenix made some moves. Milwaukee, so
of course.
The Lakers. They revamped crazy too. So
the Lakers just seem like a mess.
Still.
I don't know. I just feel like there's just a lot. There's always just a lot going on with them lately.
You're right. But Denny Blanco, go ahead.
Well, listen, I'm sure there's a lot of rain in New York City, so I'm getting flooded. I'm getting flooded as we speak.
Really?
So just the commitment to you guys as the water comes down in the background, I'm just like, oh, it's a flood. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot this morning and the past couple of days, Anthony, about the trades and Dame and landing, and we have Dame landing in the East. We have James Harden not being moved. Obviously, the Knicks were the 5th seed. Last year, and I don't know if Randy asked this, but
go ahead.
Do you see the Knicks winning more games this year than last?
Yeah, I expect the Knicks to win about 50, 51 games this year
too. Okay, and
yes, I do.
You good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask Knicks fans this too. Also, too. I'd like to understand where their level is in terms of bust, in terms of the season. So, as constructed right now, I expect the Knicks to lose in the Eastern Conference Finals to either Boston or the Bucks. Is that a successful season to you?
I mean, I would be absolutely devastated in the moment, but yes, that would be a crazy. The Knicks haven't been in the conference finals since the year 2000. So obviously, if we lost in the conference finals, I would be devastated. But number two, if you're telling me if it's July 20th and you're like, yo, we made it to the conference finals, yeah, of course that's a successful season.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, Randy, see, there you go. I mean, you can't win the chip every year.
Me.
You'd be devastated. I would be absolutely devastated.
Listen, I'm just telling you from experience. I know Anthony has felt this before, but seeing a first round in the Garden crowd was crazy. Seeing a round 2 is crazy, more crazy.
Yeah.
Now, imagine a conference finals, bro. It'll explode, bro. The Garden will explode. I'm telling you, I don't care. Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, whoever, Miami, that Garden will be rocking in the conference finals. Super rocking.
100%.
And we were so close, but that's how life is,
On a sidebar, I read somewhere that Clyde may be taking some time off for road games. But now Jeffrey Lundy and Mark Jackson could be a replacement. Are you excited for that if that were to happen?
I mean, as he should. I mean, my man Clyde is 78 years old. He looks great. He still moves around great, but he's getting older, so he should take some breaks. If it was up to me, I listen to Clyde 82 games a year, but as Clyde being my man and just like he should take some breaks. And I only wonder would the Knicks want Van Gundy because he can be a little critical sometimes in general of everybody. But yeah, that would be cool. I'm not against that.
Were you surprised that Van Gundy and Mark Jackson got let go by ESPN?
Yeah, very, very. But it was a really long run. Like, I don't know how many it was the same finals crew from think about 07, 08 till last year. So you're talking almost 15 years of the same finals crew, same same big game crew. That's a long run, man. Like when we were kids, we had multiple different finals crews. You had Marv most of the time, then Marv was gone, and like the lead play-by-play was Bob Costas, And then it went to Mike Breen. So Mike Breen has been the voice of the finals now. Well, no, it was Al Michaels.
I wasn't really feeling
then Mike
the
Breen.
ABC joint.
I like Al for basketball, for the Olympics. I mean for football, the Olympics. Al Michaels doing basketball just sounded terrible. And he's one of the greats. Like, he sounds amazing doing football.
So I'll ask you this: if
about basketball, it's not terrible.
The major if the Knicks make the NBA Finals, what is your dream broadcast team? Or who are the three people you want to call that game? You got
Kevin Harlan.
It would just be Mike and Clyde. But that would never happen because it would be a national. Unless it would be Mike and Clyde.
TV crew, Knicks NBA Finals, three people. Who you going with all time? I don't care who it is.
I would go Mike. I mean, can you bring someone back from
anyone you want
the dead? Okay, so he was having a fun conversation. I would go Mike, Clyde, and Johnny Andres.
John Andres.
Johnny Hoops.
Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
For those who don't know.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Mike, Clyde, Johnny Hoops.
All right, how about three people who are still with us today? Mike, Clyde,
and Clyde. I don't know. Like, obviously, I love Jeff, but Jeff has never been with Clyde. I guess Mike, Clyde, and Jeff. Yeah, I think Clyde and Jeff would be fine.
You go with that three: Mike, Clyde, and Van Gundy. If the Knicks make the finals, broadcast team. You get
the Mike Breen to keep it steady. Then you get Clyde. You get the Clyde with the unbelievable dictionary thesaurus words, and then you have Jeff Van Gundy, right? Jeff. You have Jeff to actually keep everything on balance, to actually pull the negativity where it needs to be pulled. So then Mike have him pull it back to the positivity.
Well, the thing is, if the Knicks are in the finals, I feel like I'm going to be at every game, home and road.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Yeah.
I'd be at every home game, and I think I would go to, if not every road game, I'd probably be. I think finals, I'd be at every game. I think I'd have to.
For the record, how long you been a Knicks fan for, Donahue?
I mean, officially since the 92-93 season when I was in fourth grade. Like, obviously, I liked the Knicks in like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. But like when I really fell in love with it, made it my life, made it my passion, said I was going to be the number one Knicks fan in the world, was in fourth grade, the 92-93 season, the year we lost to Utah, lost to the Bulls, Charles Smith. The All-Star game was in Utah that year. Michael Jordan's last year before his first retirement. So that's when I became obsessed. John Starks headbutting Reggie Miller.
So you celebrated a 30th anniversary, basically, of being a Knicks fan.
Of being a fan, yeah. Yep, for me. Yep. That's when I became obsessed.
Denny Blanco in 30 years while you spent 2.5 as a Net fan. He left. No more Brooklyn for him. No
20-something.
No more Net fan.
You're not a Nets fan anymore?
No. Anthony, guys like you should be applauded because there's guys like me. Guys like you should be applauded because you have, and Randy as well, you guys commit to a team, and the team goes down, you're going down with said team. You're gonna hang on to the Titanic, and you're gonna just hang on to that one little chair before you slide down into the abyss. God bless you. That's good, guys. You consistently go down with the ship. Me, unfortunately, once I see the ship going down, I wasn't involved with the ship going down. I didn't cause the ship going down. I'm gonna jump ship because I wasn't told. And Randy wants to hate on that, and that's okay. But you being a tenured season Knicks fans, we need fans like that who will just literally commit. I'm not a committer when it comes to a team. There's too many. You're committed.
I've been to almost every game for over 20 years too.
Committed. Again, we saw my Jets. We saw my Jets the other day. Me and Randy and Fireman Ed. Yeah. I said Fireman Ed got frustrated at 1.2.
He did, right?
He got frustrated at 1.2.
No, I've been frustrated a lot. I just never left.
See? There you go. So he's
Fireman Ed stopped going to games
maybe
for a while?
like you're talking about maybe 1 or 2 games at the end of the season when they're like 2 and and there's no way they're gonna win in Fireman.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I've missed I miss some
Yeah.
games here and there. Even then, I still watch every game. But football, I could see like if your team is like 2-4, 2-11, and it's a December Sunday, cold and wet. Like, yeah, I'm not going to this. Like, I wouldn't judge you. I wouldn't judge your fan
Fireman
on that.
put off the Aaron Rodgers. He had a 2-day. He went to the dark retreat. He came back outside the dark and said, "You know what? I cannot leave JETS. I cannot leave that."
I still can't believe what happened with that. Like, I'm not as big a football fan as I used to be, but I was glued to the TV that night. Aaron Rodgers' first game, dude got one series. That's like one of the most New York. And the Jets have a historic. The Jets have a history of bad luck, and that's probably. I mean, I'm not a Jets expert, but that's got.
Yeah, they've had Vinny Testaverde issue with Vinny Testaverde. Then
opening day also.
Then it was Chad Pennington the shoulder. There's always been something, but again, who would have thought that your man Aaron Rodgers would have came out, dropped back? He look great carrying the flag. I was telling Randy, I was like, "Hey, this."
Yeah, everything was set up perfect that night.
Your man running with the flag. I'm like, "Ooh!" And then all of a sudden he gets taken down. I'm like, this can't be an injury, is it? On a normal tackle. I was just sitting there like, nah, this is not an injury. This is an injury. Wow. Jets fans hurt.
It was the most watched Monday Night Football game ever.
Seriously.
Yeah. That was bananas.
Bro, like 20, I think it was 27 million was watching that game.
27 million watch Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers run with the flag and then go down. Unbelievable.
And then now you got Zach Wilson. Now they're 1-2. So, it happens, man. It happens.
Different conversation for a different day when it comes to that. Guys, I got to run because I can't allow this flood to keep going. I love you too.
You got the flood's still going?
It's still going.
I gotta break out of here too,
Anthony Donahue, man. Love you, man. Appreciate it. At MNG, Twitter, social media. All right, I'll check you out. Yes, sir.
Later, and good looking.
All right.